thank you for inviting me out tonight. Despite everything that's happened, I enjoyed spending time with you.
Yeah.
You know, I have some more wine in the house. Octavia's with her mother this weekend, so we could...
I'm not fucking you tonight, okay? I'm really not in the mood, Stolas.
We could talk, or watch a movie, or maybe cuddle.
Stolas, don't act like what we have is anything but you wanting me to fuck you, okay? You make that really clear all the time. But I can't do it tonight, okay? I'm sorry.
Okay. Good night, Blitz.
Night.
Helluva Boss is an interesting story with excellent world building and colorfully three-dimensional characters. The main character, Blitz, and his situationship? Friend with benefits?
It's a transactional fucking, you see.
Stolas are probably my favorite characters in the show. Both Stolas and Blitz are fathers that love their daughters, but aside from that, they come from very different backgrounds. Stolas being a prince of the Ars Goetia, and Blitz being a lowly imp. Stolas was engaged and married off by his father to a princess of the Ars Goetia. It's obvious from the times where he and his wife Stella interact that their marriage is completely loveless.
It's annoying to hear you screeching your silly woes all the time.
Why are you still here? You leave with Fia on weekends, but then you stay around the house despite everything.
I like tormenting you. I want to keep reminding you of what you did.
I know what I did. I would feel bad if I hurt you, but we both know I didn't do that. You and I were arranged for one reason, to birth a precautionary heir to the Goetia family. Nothing more. I tried so many years to make it comfortable for us, to have this family, but it was never enough. The only reason I have endured your constant insults and cruelty was for that girl to have a normal life. I cannot do this anymore. I want you out, now.
What do you mean, out?
I mean out! Out of this palace, out of my life. We are getting the divorce.
How dare you? What do you think the rest of the Goetia family will think? And Drelfus...
I don't care what your arrogant brother thinks. And the only thing the Goetia family wanted from our marriage is already 17, so it's over. I'm done.
This episode gave us a lot of insight into why Stolas is the way he is. Before I saw this episode, I kind of thought that what Blitz was saying about Stolas may have been true. It wasn't until we saw Stolas' childhood that I really began to understand that Stolas had never felt loved before Blitz. He lived in a mansion where the only other person we can assume lived there is the butler, as Paimon, Stolas' father, doesn't even remember his name. It isn't until Stolas meets Blitz and they become friends that he feels any kind of love. Years later, after Stolas was married and had a daughter, the only person we can tell he loves with every feather of his being, get it, that Blitz shows up. When he does, Stolas' feelings come flooding back. When Stolas brings Blitz to his chambers, he doesn't exactly know what he's going to do, but after flirting for a bit, Blitz ends up making the first real move. This is a key moment because from this point forward, Stolas seems like he's just a horny, spoiled prince. But I think the reason he comes across this way is because he believes that the way that Blitz and him were reunited is the only way to show Blitz that he loves him. So he ends up being overbearing and flirtatious while trying to convey love to Blitz. When Blitz is annoyed, he realizes he needs a different approach and decides to make the full moon deal with Blitz.
Once a month, on the full moon, you return the book to me, followed by a night of passionate fornication. And you get to keep it all the rest of the time,
Upon most people's first viewing of this scene, I think it could be assumed Stolas' intentions are just what he says. Passionate fornication. But I think it's evidence that he was somewhat desperate for any kind of romantic moment with Blitz, despite Blitz at this point being in no place to have a committed romantic relationship. I say this not to mean that he couldn't be a great partner to Stolas. Believe me, I'm probably the #1 Stolas shipper. At the point that Blitz is at, I think he actually loves Stolas, but does not see himself as worthy of the love Stolas has for him. Now, insight on Blitz's feelings towards Stolas before the episode Aussies is kind of hard to come by, but with that short look we can see there's something there. And then there's...
Oh, good. The guy's actually managed.
Sir, are you okay?
Oh, Peachy! Yeah, no, today's been wonderful. What the fuck was that about?
Stolas got hurt bad.
Stolas got what? Ow. He can get hurt?
That is when we see so much more of Blitz's actual feelings for Stolas, his concern and confusion as he realizes that he could lose Stolas, who before this point has seemed completely indestructible to Blitz. But now Blitz is worried that not only could Stolas get hurt, Stolas could get hurt by him. Blitz has a very negative view of himself, believing himself to be the poison that caused all this pain and suffering for the people he has loved, whether it was Fizzaroli, Veronica, Barbie, or his own mother. In the new episode, we learn that specifically the event with his mother, Barbie, and Fizz is the catalyst for these feelings, as Blitz seems like a very, very different person from the child he was in the episode The Circus. This goes even deeper when we take into account the second part of the Season 1 finale, Queen Bee.
I had a really shitty day.
Oh yeah? Is that why you drank like 5 gallons worth of who knows what?
Fuck, Fizz was right. I'm gonna die alone, aren't I? Just a wrinkly, old, weathered waste. Will you be there, Looney?
Beware.
It's lonely. I won't die alone.
I'll be there, Dad. Now go the fuck to sleep, okay?
Here, Blitz is drunk and at his most transparent point. And for the first time, he's actually honest with someone else about how he feels. The audience knows he feels this low from the episode Truth Seekers, but because this scene took place in his brain, there's no one else in the show who knows. Him telling Luna about his fear is the first time he really opens up, and not only does it show Luna how he feels, it also allows her to see him as a little more humane. I want to focus now on Blitz's self-esteem. There's evidence that he has really internalized the values of Hell's hierarchy. We see this several times throughout the show, but I think it's an overlooked detail in Blitz's dialogue.
Shit talker, but there hasn't been a soul yet who can beat me at my own game. So you better bring the fire, baby.
Oh, is Queen Bee too scared to lose to a little imp like me? Hey, Stolas only cares about having a rugged peasant raw dog him into his mattress. I mean, Stolas is just a loud, thirsty bitch who loves feeling the thrill of getting dicked by the lower class. It's a novelty to him.
It's a novelty. Blitz has such a negative view of himself, he believes himself to be a novelty to Stolas. But Blitz's view of himself goes even deeper than that when we look at his apartment. Look at the walls in this scene. They're covered with photos of Blitz with Moxie, Millie, and Luna, but these photos have something off about them. Blitz's face is scribbled out in black marker. This, along with the way he talks about himself and his relationship with Stolas, says a lot. But remember earlier when I had mentioned all the people Blitz has hurt? The new episode shows a flashback of the event that caused all of this. And here's the thing, it really was an accident. Blitz did not have any ill intent and wasn't even being irresponsible in the moment. But in a moment of anger, he shoved the imp with the birthday cake. That's what caused the fire. The point here is that even accidents can have tragic ramifications. There could have been a much smaller outcome, and in another universe, maybe it's even the case. The imp falls, the birthday cake is smashed, the fire is smothered out by frosting. Fizz doesn't have a birthday cake at his party, and that's it. No other major consequences. But Blitz believes that because his actions technically caused the fire, that he is wholly responsible for it, and thus wholly responsible for Fizz's injuries and his mother's death. That's not even to mention what Fizz says next.
Why didn't you try to tell me any of this? Or come see me? Even once would have been fine.
I tried. You were all I had left, Fizz, but they told me you didn't want to see me.
I never told them that.
Bullshit. You didn't?
No, and no one told me you came.
Oh.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I really think that Blitz's dad is the one that kept the two of them apart. And I think it's pretty clear he liked Fizz more than he cared about Blitz. But there's even more to it than that when we look at how much Fizz is worth to Blitz's dad versus how much Blitz is worth.
Well, Fizzaroli is a big draw. He has a few more shows to be in today, so it would be pretty expensive.
No, the other one.
Blitzo?
Correct. How much?
Well, he's my son, so... how much you got in your pocket?
I think this scene is an important part of why Blitz has these issues. His dad quite literally assumes Fizz is the one that Paimon wanted, and would have asked for a lot of money for him, if that was the case. But instead, when he learns that it was Blitz, he says, "He's my son," and then takes a wadded up 5 and a slim fit condom as payment and says,
Yeah, that's plenty. Done.
That's how much Blitz is worth to his dad. And I get the feeling that even the flashback we got in the newest episode isn't the full story. I can imagine Blitz's dad saying something awful to him about how his life was ruined and it was all Blitz's fault. And if that is the case, maybe Barbie and Fizz were both told awful things about Blitz while also being told he had abandoned them. All the while, Blitz is actually trying to visit them. There's evidence of this at the very least happening with Fizz, but we still don't have any details on Barbie Wire or her relationship with Blitz.
Satan fucking damn it! Thanks a lot, Blitzo. I'm out of a job. Fuck!
Barb, wait. I want to help you. Let me help you, please. You're clean now. Let's grab dinner. We'll catch up and we'll talk about...
You don't fucking get it! Just because I'm out of rehab doesn't mean I want to see you. I never want to see you, ever! Next time you want to find me, Blitzo, don't!
Because of how little we know about Barbie, it's tough to pinpoint exactly where she and Blitzo's problems really started. I think she likely had a few run-ins with Blitz after the fire, but like she says, she never wanted to see him. But where does all of this leave Blitz and Stolas' relationship? What can either of them do to help the other? Can they be helped? I think they can, and I hope this is the case. In this episode, we heard Stolas say out loud for the first time how he really feels about Blitz.
Out. You see, I seem to have found myself with feelings for him, and I'm not sure if it's a mutual thing.
So, Stolas and Blitz's relationship currently relies heavily on the full moon deal, the thing that makes what they are currently doing into a transaction. However, this episode, Stolas went to Osmodius trying to get an Osmodian crystal as a gift for Blitz. If he were to get said crystal and give it to Blitz, it would mean Blitz would have no use for the grimoire, and thus the full moon deal would end. This could make things tricky. Blitz could think that Stolas is trying to get rid of him, so I think Stolas will have to be very delicate about how this is done. If he were to properly set the mood and explain to Blitz his feelings for him before the crystal is presented, then this might actually work to show Blitz how Stolas really feels about him, and allow Blitz to actually express his feelings too. However, there is still one thing tipping the scales that I haven't mentioned in this section of the video.
Sound fair, my little imp?
Who dare threaten my impish little plaything? Who said that?
My grimoire is actually incredibly important, and it isn't supposed to be lent out to itty-bitty imps like yourself. Ugh.
One thing I did not mention earlier in the section on Blitz's self-esteem is how Stolas affects Blitz's view of himself. We talked about how Blitz talks to and about himself, but where does he get it from? The truth is he hears a lot of it from Stolas. Now, Stolas is not doing this intentionally, but he is putting these words in Blitz's head, and unfortunately Blitz doesn't know any better than to internalize it. Stolas likely doesn't realize that what he says is so harmful because of the fact that Blitz is so good at channeling his insecurities into what looks like confidence.
Oh, is Queen Bee too scared to lose to a little imp like me?
See what I mean? On the surface, this seems like a "don't underestimate me" type of phrase, but because of what we know about Blitz and his feelings about himself, I think it's obvious that the "little imp" phrase is starting to get to him. I think Bad Trip Moxie said it best in the episode Truth Seekers.
I believe your self-conscious is trying to tell you that you simply cannot fathom proper intimacy, but also craving as well. It's rather unfortunate, sir, considering it's often how you treat those who stand by you, such as myself.
Are you worried I may have enough of it one day as well?
Blitz is in a weird place. Like Stolas, he doesn't have any real intimate relationships, but he wants them so badly that he fabricates them with everyone around him, except, oddly enough, the one person who has intimate feelings for him. If he had the courage to believe in Stolas' feelings for him, this would tip the scale and be the deciding factor of their relationship. It really will come down to Stolas when Stolas comes forward with his feelings for Blitz. Blitz will have to allow himself to really be loved, to allow Stolas to love him, and to openly love Stolas. There's just one thing standing in his way.
I mean, it's all my fault. I'd hate me too. I mean, I do. Stolas, don't act like what we have is anything but you wanting me to fuck you, okay? You make that really clear all the time. But I can't do it tonight, okay? I'm sorry. Fuck, Fizz was right. I'm gonna die alone, aren't I? Just a wrinkly, old, weathered waste.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this analysis, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you'd like to see me analyze other characters in Helluva Boss or any other TV shows or movies, give a little click to the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you'll never miss an upload. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye!